Hello and welcome to Realeconomy. There are more than 3 million young people in Europe unable to find a job. And with the pandemic, the situation is worsening. There's talk of a youth unemployment crisis, and it has long-term effects. Young people without work are more likely to suffer from depression and mental health problems. They tend to earn less over their whole lifetime, and they'll leave home and start a family later. But there are some success stories, and Fanny Goy headed to meet some young people in Belgium who've managed to get into the workplace.
We've come to meet 25-year-old Baggio, who's on a youth employment contract near Brussels. This former electrician has just completed his roofing training and hopes to increase his income with this new job that's in demand in his region.
My brother introduced me to roofing. These are just tiles, so it's basic, but when you work on slate, for example, it's really meticulous and frankly pleasant work to do. I have a lot of friends who are struggling to find work at the moment, but with this training, I'm not worried. I feel lucky.
Baggio was able to retrain thanks to Tremplin, a programme in the Brussels region funded by the European Social Fund. The fund has a budget of 18 million euros over 7 years, and 10,000 18 to 25-year-olds have benefited from it. One of them is Gamze, a 19-year-old from Brussels. We met her at an internship in this shop.
Last year I finished high school, but I didn't know what to do. It really caused me a lot of anxiety. Since COVID emerged, e-commerce has progressed a lot, and that's really pushed me towards this field. The shop also has an online sales section, so I take care of stocks, sales, orders, and I manage social media, like Facebook and Instagram.
For Gamze, this was a smart move, as she now has a job interview. Across the Brussels region, the number of job seekers under the age of 25 has increased by almost 8% compared to last year, and the youth unemployment rate has reached 25%. But Gamze and Baggio still hope that their professional dreams will come true.
It was very motivating to see entrepreneurs during the training. I want to have a job in e-commerce, and I want to start my own business. I want to sell evening dresses.
I'm planning to open a business with my brother in a few years, and that'll be even more rewarding for me to say that I was able to create something myself.
The pandemic has exacerbated youth unemployment problems in Europe. There are fewer work opportunities, and young people are competing with unemployed people with more experience. The EU plans to invest at least 22 billion euros to support youth employment. But economist Guntram Wolf says he wants to see more done.
Alone 22 billion is not enough, so you clearly need also national support for the young generation. The sad truth is that youth unemployment doesn't go down so quickly. After the last financial crisis, it took between 5 and 10 years until we came back to the, let's say, 2009 levels of youth unemployment. This issue of how the youth is affected by the pandemic is something that needs to be on top of policymakers' minds.
Although Baggio and Gamze are confident about the future, the pressure is on to prevent a whole generation from being left behind.
With more and more young people needing employment centres like this one in Brussels, just how bad is the situation in Europe and what's being done at the top to help solve it? Here's your crash course.
Youth unemployment in Europe was already at 15%. Then the pandemic hit, and now it's almost at 18%. That means 3.1 million 15 to 24-year-olds are out of work, and 4.7 million counting those aged 15 to 29. And that's just those actively looking for work. If you count all of those unemployed and not in educational training, known as NEETs, it amounts to nearly 10 million people. To bridge the divide, the EU has invested 22 billion euros over the last 7 years to get young people into work through vocational training and apprenticeships. And they'll be investing at least another 22 billion over the next 7 years. This youth employment support package, financed by the European Social Fund Plus and other EU funds, includes a guarantee that all those who sign up will receive an offer of a job, an apprenticeship, education or training within 4 months.
To find find out more about what the European Commission plans to do about youth unemployment, I'm going to meet the Commissioner for Employment and Social Rights, Nicholas Schmit. There are 3 million young people in Europe right now who can't find a job. Are we looking at a lost generation?
Well, we have to prevent a new lost generation. We are just coming out of a period where we had a lost generation due to the financial and then economic crisis. And that's why the Commission reacted very fast and quite boldly also with adopting the Youth Employment Support Program. Because we were very much aware that there was a risk, or there is a risk, of a lost generation. And we cannot just produce in such a short period 2 lost generations.
After the financial crisis, it took a decade for youth unemployment rates to get back to where they were before. Why is it going to be different this time?
Because this time is different. I think this crisis is different. The reaction to the crisis is very different. We had very austerity policies. This time we have a big program to invest, to recover, to create jobs, to accompany these transitions in the green economy, in the digital, but also in many other sectors.
We can have the most educated and skilled young workforce, but there aren't enough jobs for them, are there?
There are jobs. You know, there are jobs because there are sectors where there are job vacancies. But sometimes also the skills of the young, the education profiles, do not match with the requirements of these jobs. And therefore we have to react rapidly. That's the youth guarantee, by the way. We have to give these young people perhaps some additional training, additional education, reorientation for the jobs which exist.
Now, we heard criticisms there in the report that the 22 billion being invested is not enough.
Well, it might never be enough, but I think it's an indicative figure. It's not 20 billion and that's it. I think we have a lot of other funding now through the Recovery and Resilience Facility. So I think we have to use a lot of this money to create jobs and also to bring the young into these jobs.
OK, Commissioner Schmit, thank you very much indeed for being on Realeconomy.
Thank you.
Well, that's all from the Realeconomy team this week. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.